All right, where's my coffee at? Oh man. Two.
Is it recording right now?
It is.
You're just going? Oh, okay, cool.
Just trying to get my, oh shit. Take the socks off too because it is hot. I was thinking it was gonna be cold.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like every morning has been so cold, and so
Yep.
now the sun's coming out and it's nice.
Yep. As long as we're in the sun, yeah. In the shade, it's a little chilly still, but
Yeah.
in the sun, it is golden. Appreciate you taking the time
Oh yeah, dude. Of course.
to do this. Yeah, this
Thanks
is
for
awesome.
sitting down with me. Always got to have my cup of coffee with me, though. What are you drinking over there?
There's also coffee. You know, a little latte.
A little latte.
Yeah. Just organic coffee, oat milk, and maple syrup. Yeah.
Maple syrup. That's a new one. I haven't heard of anyone putting maple syrup in their
Really?
coffee.
Dude, it is ideal.
Are you Canadian?
So good. No, not at all, actually. Purebred San Diegan.
San Diego, baby. We're both representing San Diego.
Yeah.
So, to quickly dive into the podcast, van chats, if we want to call this.
I like it.
Yeah. So it's, diving in, just give a brief little introduction of like how you got into chiropractic, maybe touch on how we met, and just like what got you into health and wellness.
Man, it's a pretty interesting story. Yeah, so luckily, I didn't really have like any serious condition that happened to me that like brought me into like the health world. Like a lot of people have their testimony where it's like, they, had an extreme sickness or some type of, trauma that happened to them that brought them to chiropractic or whatever it might be, So for me, thankfully it wasn't that case, which for some people it's great. That's how they got into it. Absolutely, love that story, But for me, I think it really, looking back and kind of reflecting on like everything in my life, I feel as if I was called to do this, and maybe I wouldn't have been called to do this if it wasn't for my father's story and actually, what happened to him. So when I was 5 years old, he actually, they found a cyst in his head, basically, like in his right temporal lobe, I think it was. So they found this benign cyst, and it was causing some complications, and so they decided to take it out, basically, So they went about and did that, and what happens is they with that surgery, after the surgery, sometimes the patient will start to have seizures. So to prevent that, they gave him Dilaudid, which is like a drug for seizures, basically, to like, stop seizures or what have you. And that didn't help. He actually did start getting seizures and stuff like that. So he like lost his license, and it was just like, every once in a while we'd have a seizure, and it was just like a kind of a scary thing to watch that happen. And so eventually, it was causing so much issues, and it never got better. It kind of just got worse. It was like this spiral downhill, which unfortunately is the case a lot of the times with these types of things. So eventually, as it's still kind of a mystery, to be honest, but one morning I actually woke up and found my father face down, unresponsive. So as a 5-year-old, I was 5 years old. He was 33 at the time, and he was a big dude, like 6'2", 6'3", probably closer to 200 pounds or maybe more. And I'm just this little twig, trying to, push him over and daddy, and he was Yeah, he was dead at that point for sure. And I had no idea what was going on. But my mom she knew right away. She called and was like, where's Papa? Like, he should be awake right now. We're like, no, he's sleeping. And she was like, nah, that's weird. He should be up right now, So she was kind of frustrated, actually. Like, what the heck? Go wake him up. And I went to go wake him up, and that's when I found him, like, unresponsive, basically. And she knew right away something's not right. She's like, nah. I think she knew pretty much right away, like, that's not good. He could be, had a seizure or whatever it might have been. So at this point, we still don't know exactly what happened, but our best sort of guess is that he had a seizure and like flipped over and like suffocated because he was face down. So it's a weird situation, but I like, again, I reflect on my life and I look at it and I'm like, man, if that didn't happen, maybe I wouldn't have got into health and wellness in the first place. Like, who knows what my life would have been like. So, a lot of what ifs kind of thing, which
Thank you for sharing too.
Yeah.
That's a really, it's a sad story, and I feel for you, man. And it's like, it just really like hurts my heart, but to see like you where you are now to this day, and to like be able to dig yourself out of that suffering and be able to bring yourself up and see the positive in that, which is incredible. Like, it just shows a lot about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to let you know, man, I love you, and I'm so sorry, that happened to you. But
yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing about humans, is that we do have a choice whether we see things as, happening to us or happening for us. And again, I look back and I'm like, that was absolutely a situation that happened for me, and like the mission, sort of the mission statement that I have is like, man, like, who can I help to avoid that situation? Whether it be a cyst, tumors, cancer, whatever it might be, or just simply back pain, caused by whatever it might be, but I just have this mission of like, man, I want to teach as many people as possible how to actually heal themselves. For the most part, we are our own doctors, and the things that I've learned, with chiropractic, which obviously chiropractic, you need someone to assist that, but the philosophy of chiropractic is that the body does the healing. Your innate ability to heal, right, is always there, right? And with chiropractic, we're just simply removing interference and optimizing that ability to heal. So it is self-healing, and the thing about, fasting as well, which is another sort of component that I think is just so valuable to healing, and our innate ability to heal is fasting. So those two things for me, I feel are just hand in hand, and I feel like that is truly like what the world needs. Obviously that's just my opinion and sort of my perspective, but that's like
rightfully
my mission.
so too, and what was it that, like, how did you find chiropractic, once you went on that health journey, would you say?
Yeah. So fast forward some years, let's see, I was probably 25, 26. Actually, no, a little bit, like, it was like early 20s. I was in my early 20s, and my grandma and my aunt on my father's side, both of them actually, my grandma got breast cancer, and then my aunt got endometrial cancer. So, and they actually reversed that and healed that by just going plant-based.
Wow.
So and it's like they didn't do any fasting, chiropractic, like none of that stuff. All they did was change their lifestyle, essentially, and that completely reversed, and it never came back, So that was like, whoa, okay, like that was pretty cool to see, So I would have to say my aunt was definitely like a big proponent for getting me into that, like, sort of health, realm, and so. Yeah, I saw that, and I don't know, it's just something just sparked in me, and I just wanted to learn more about health, So I just dug in and started just getting as much as I possibly could. Obviously, YouTube University was the learning platform right there. So I was just looking and watching as many videos as I possibly could, just lectures on health, and like I would just dig in and find out as much as I possibly could about health. All realms. Like, it wasn't just plant-based, vegan, whatever, it was like all realms, bro. Like, I wanted to know what is the optimal like way to live, basically, So around 25, I basically started a business, or I worked for another business cleaning houses, and then I started my own business after that. Started just cleaning houses, and then I eventually got into cleaning office buildings as well, and yeah. So as I would clean, I would just be listening to all things health and wellness. So here I am, just cleaning houses and office buildings and stuff like that, and just like all I'm doing is just listening to this like lectures and all kinds of stuff on health. So, but eventually I found or I worked for a client, and beautiful house, beautiful family, like just picture perfect, man. It was so great. This was in Carlsbad in San Diego, actually, just a gorgeous house. And I didn't know anything about what she did, I didn't know anything about the occupation, of anybody in the house, actually. So I'm just cleaning the house. I get paid really well. They're awesome people. They love me and I love them. And I was like, cool, what a good deal, And I can just do my thing, like. But at that time, on a particular morning, cleaning the house, I came across a video of like a doctor doing like muscle testing, and then he would adjust, and then he would muscle test again, and you can like see the difference, right? So I was like, whoa, like what is it? It's just like, I was amazed by that. I was seriously like, what is that? Like, this guy just did like some muscle testing, like did some move on the back, and then he would muscle test again, and you can clearly see the difference, like the strength, and I was just blown away by that. And I was so like passionate about that for some reason. And I started telling my client, who I was working for at the time, and I'm just like, you gotta check this out. Like, this is the coolest thing. It's called chiropractic. Like it's so cool, And she kind of just laughed at me and was like, okay, that's, I can see you're very passionate about this, She's like, it just so happens that actually this is what I do. Like, I am a chiropractor,
Oh, no
And
way.
I was like, what? Like, no way. Like, how? Like, what a weird coincidence, Like, the synchronicity there is just unbelievable. And I actually don't think that it was a coincidence. I think that was just like spirit, God, like intervention right there, Like, and yeah. So she happened to be a chiropractor. And she was like, man, I see you're pretty passionate about this, Like, I can literally see like the fire coming off of you right now. And she invited me to go to what they called Champions Weekend at the time. Today at Life West, they call it Discovery Weekend. So at that time, it was called Champions Weekend. And it was like the school flies you out. They, you get booked a hotel, for I think it was 2 nights. And everything's paid for, man. You just check out the school, and I was in. I was like, absolutely, I'm there, So the only thing everything was paid for, actually, even the flight. Yeah, everything was paid for. I didn't have to pay a dime.
Nice.
Really, I think just food. Even they did feed us too, but like one lunch or something like that. But anyhow, I flew out there, checked out Life West Chiropractic College, and I was just like, man, this is it. This is where I want to be. Like, this is my people, Had a few conversations with some of the students there, and I was like, this is it, man. I feel so at home, talking to these people. Like, we shared values, and I really didn't know anything about chiropractic. Like, I knew very, very little, and but I just knew, like, talking to these people and like talking to some of the doctors and stuff like that, and I was like, this is great. Like, this is what I want to do, I think, And I honestly felt like this was a calling. It was like, man, this is happening for a reason. Again, it's happening for me. Like, perfect timing, man. So that's how I got into chiropractic. It just so happened at the same time I got into fasting around the same time, actually. I had again, I just came across this. It was a documentary, actually. It was called Emotion, and yeah, I came across this old cowboy. One of the speakers on this film was an old cowboy, Don Tolman. And again, I have no idea why, but I was just like, who is that guy? Out of like maybe 24 people that are speaking on this film, the one guy, I was like, who is that? What is he talking about? When he spoke with such like clarity and just like, he just spoke with such truth. And I think we all have this innately. When we hear truth, we know truth, you know? And
it's like you can tell when someone's like speaking from the heart versus like they're speaking with this, oh, I'm speaking to an audience and I'm hoping that they get my message. And it sounds like this, is it Don Tolman?
Don Tolman.
Yeah, it sounds like he had that like something, that same feeling that you had with chiropractic and what got you into fasting.
You got it, exactly. Yeah, and his so I looked him up. Who is this guy? I gotta find out what this guy's all about. You know, just they called him the whole food medicine cowboy or something like that. He had a cowboy hat and he had a handlebar mustache, and I was like, who is this guy, man? But again, what he was talking about was like, oh, that is just raining so true to my soul. Like every fiber of my being, every cell in my body was just like radiating with like, yes, like listen to that, you know? So I looked him up. I think I found like a podcast or something like that, and it was just like 30 something little audios of this guy talking, you know? And I went through that whole entire thing so fast because I was just like, wow, what am I listening to? Oh my gosh, you know? He spoke such like, again, like clarity, but like such like simplicity is a better word. Like he broke health down in such a simple way, you know? Like, you know, from a certain perspective, it's so complex, it seems like, you know? I would say from a medical perspective, maybe from like an allopathic medicine perspective, not to like, you know, point fingers or to like criticize or anything like that, but like most medical doctors have this like, you know, they make things so complex, you know, and they got to tell you about all these different enzymes and all these different properties and all this stuff, you know, and like Don knew this stuff, but he didn't use the jargon, you know, so much. He just broke it down in such a simple, simplistic way.
Well, that's why I think we connected so much, is it's like we know, we're learning the science, we know how complex the human body is, learning all the different organ systems and how the body connects, but like you said, it's like at the end of the day, health is very, very simple, but we overcomplicate it. It's like, oh, like, how many carbs am I eating today? How many fats? How many proteins? It's like, no, let's get back to our roots. And that's why I love talking to you, because it's like, no, we just know. You don't need a double-blind placebo, blah, 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 to like understand what makes me feel good and vibrant.
You said it.
Sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to touch on that.
That's good.
You know?
No, you said it perfectly, man. Yeah, and so yeah, just a simplistic way of learning about health and how the body works, man. It was amazing. So, and one of his like big things that he was talking about was fasting. And I just had no idea what fasting was at all, you know? But I just knew he did 5 40-day fasts. I think he did it every year. He would do a 40-day fast, which is just like, it just sounds so stupid. Like, why would you even do that? Why would you go 40 days without, you know, food, like, let alone one day, one meal, you know? It just sounded so weird and foreign and just like crazy. But again, my like soul was like, yes, you need to do that. You are going to do that. And I did. Not the 40-day fast. Luckily, I feel like I would have died if I did that. Like, man. But I was so like convicted, and I was like, man, I'm gonna fast, you know? So I was like, okay, 7 days, water only, I'm doing it, you know? Like I was so, you know, fired up about it, and I did 7 days, and
7 days just water.
7 days just water. Yeah. And it was
just right out of the gates, no experience.
No prep, nothing, man. No prep. Yeah. At the time I had like sort of gone towards this like plant-based, like eating habits and stuff like that. In fact, I might have been like full on like vegan at the time. I actually don't quite remember, but I had bounced around with like different things. I just wanted to know and experience for myself what makes me feel good and what is health, you know? Like, okay, if it's vegetarian, if it's vegan, let's try it, let's do it, let's see what happens, you know? So I think at that time I was experiencing like full on vegan or something like that at the time, or like mostly plant-based, I would say. And yeah, it was good, it was great, you know, I felt good, I was energetic and stuff like that, you know? I don't know if it was like changing the world for me, but I definitely, you know, noticed a difference, you know? But so in a way, I guess that might have been a little bit of the prep towards the fast, because you know, knowing what I know now, it's like you do want to actually go a little bit more on the vegan side to go into a fast. It's a little bit easier as far as detoxing.
Okay, so like segueing into
Yeah.
fasting more specifically, like, can you break down, because I see you as the expert with fasting, you know, when it comes to breaking it down for someone who has no experience with fasting. What are the different like types? Because there's like intermittent fasting where you don't eat for 18 hours. You know, you go to bed, your last meal is like before 8 o'clock, and you don't have your next meal till, let's say, noon the next day. And that's a big trend right now with entrepreneurs, guys like Dave Asprey, biohacking. So talk to me a little bit about like the differences between intermittent, maybe doing a 1 to 2 day, and then something like longer, that like a 40 day, something crazy
Gotcha.
like that.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, there are many ways to fast, and to truly fast would be water only. And technically, lemon juice, like that's breaking fast. There's calories in that. Even like brushing your teeth technically would be like breaking a fast. But the idea of fasting, you have intermittent fasting, which is sort of like a craze right now. It's kind of like a popular thing. And intermittent fasting is pretty much just cutting down your window of eating, right? So I would say most people are doing like an 8-hour eating window, or maybe like a 6-hour eating window. So pretty much what that looks like is like basically, you know, your last meal is at like 6 p.m. the night before, and then maybe you break fast around 10, 11, you know, maybe noon, you know, something like that the next day. So that would be intermittent fasting. And you can do that every single day. And myself, I noticed the difference. And with the people that I coach today, and just sort of observing people and, you know, hearing testimonials and stuff like that, intermittent fasting has probably been like one of the most like amazing things for people in like changing their health, you know, and just feeling more energetic and just feeling better, you know.
It's like
in
it's
general.
rightfully so that it is a trend, because
Yeah.
it's like I do that pretty much, I would say almost every day. Like I never eat breakfast. I do my coffee, my mold-free toxin-free coffee, you know, with
Gotcha.
some
Yep.
butter,
Yep.
a little MCT oil, spin that up, have my coffee to start the day, make sure I'm drinking enough water. First meal's not coming around till noon.
Yep.
And I feel amazing. Like my energy throughout the day is incredible.
Yep.
But there is like a point where it's like I will hit a drop-off point, you know, when you're doing so much work throughout your day.
Sure.
It's like you can't just go on nothing.
Sure.
You know, maybe, and I don't know if you want to touch on that too, because that's a big thing with people with fasting, right? Is like this fear of like, well, I don't want to fast because if I fast, you know, I'm going to feel angry. I'm going to be hungry as shit all day long.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to feel like crap
Yeah.
when I have so much to do in my life. So why the hell would I do this? You know?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, dude, people freak out, like, you know, they miss a meal and they're gonna, you know, lose their blood sugar. It's just gonna be completely gone. They're just gonna wither away and die. It's like, no, man, your body is actually adapted, or it can be adapted to fasting, which is the idea. And that, we know when we first start doing this and kind of playing around with fasting, it could be a little uncomfortable for many reasons, actually. One of the main reasons that when you fast, you're going into a mode of removing toxins from the body, and that can be uncomfortable. Even with intermittent fasting, you know, when you increase the fasting time, the more your body is going to like get rid of toxins. It's going to go into that mode of healing and regeneration and stuff like that, you know. And to do that, it has to move out the toxins.
And so that makes sense now that I think about it. Like what you said, when you're removing toxins and you're detoxing. Detoxing, it sounds like oh, that's a good thing, but it's uncomfortable.
Oh, it sucks, dude.
It's the worst part, right?
Yeah.
Like you get like almost like sweats, maybe some anxiety.
Yep. All kinds of things. Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Headaches, you know, the smells that are coming out, like atrocious at times, especially if you're doing an extended fast, which, yeah, so you have intermittent fasting, and then another way people do it is like 1 day a week, which is actually what I think is ideal for what I'm doing, like for, you know, full-time student in chiropractic school, like 1 day a week, perfect. It's like, it is the way to go as far as like still implementing a fasting lifestyle and, yeah, you know, maintaining
that's what we decided. We decided to connect through that.
That's right.
Create a little Fast Friday group on Facebook.
Yeah.
We'll drop a link in the description if anyone wants to join that group, because
perfect. Yeah.
It's good. It's good to have accountability too, and that's probably another thing we could spend hours talking about is the accountability within fasting.
Yep.
Because that support system is so crucial. You know, not everyone.
Good point.
Like I've fallen off the horse so many times with fasting where I say I'm going to do something and I don't follow through. And I'm a pretty strong, you know, inner strength type of person, but I see you like, and your discipline is just next level, you know, which says a lot about you. But again, sorry to keep cutting you off, but I don't know if you want to go into the accountability or if you want to maybe transition into maybe the longer fasts and the benefits of going a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to talk about, because again, we were talking about how many sort of different ways there is to fast. You have the intermittent fasting, 1 day a week. Some people will do like 3 days on, 2 days off. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. And there are benefits to all of them, really, you know, and it's kind of what is going to fit your lifestyle best, which is a beautiful thing, you know, like this is on you, like this is your lifestyle, you know, like you can, you know, like mold it to what works best for you. So I do believe that whether it's religious or just out of necessity, I think we are supposed to do extended fasts every once in a while, because of especially like our day and age and how much toxicity there is all around. And we do bioaccumulate a lot of toxicity. And when you fast, you're actually getting rid of that stuff and you're removing that stuff from the body, especially with what I've learned and how to assist that through an extended fast. That is the way to go. Again, it's uncomfortable, but once you get through that, once you make it through, you feel so amazing. And it's almost like, you know, as a child, we take it for granted, but you're just energetic and you're moving all over the place and you never even think twice about, you know, about energy. You just full on, like ready to go, you know, and as we get older, it seems to diminish, you know, but I don't think that's the way it should be. You know, if you look at some of the longest lived cultures on earth, they are like in their 80s and they're moving. They're not sitting down sedentary and, you know, and just dying. It's like, no, they're still moving, going up hills, you know, catching water, and like they're doing a lot of stuff, you know, gardening and all kinds of things, you know. They're moving their bodies and they're in their 80s, you know. And like some of them even still have like a sex life, you know, like that's amazing, you know. Again, we think like,
no, it is. It's crazy. Like you're touching on so many important topics, because it's like, I mean, in our 20s now, it seems like people are declining.
Yep.
It's like, that's not normal.
Not at all. It is not. Yeah.
You know, and we always talk about like, oh, like, you know, we're extending the lifespan through medical technology. And I'm like,
are we?
Are we? Sure, maybe we're getting older, but we're like hooked up to a ventilator. Is that where we're going?
Yep. Are we really extending life, or are we extending death?
Yeah.
You know, it sounds harsh, but it's the truth, man.
Yeah. So with the extended fast, are you talking just water, like, you know, how many days, or for someone who's getting into it, you talked about maybe eating some fruits and vegetables, or maybe juicing, if you want to talk about a little bit briefly about the difference between juicing versus the whole foods?
Yeah, so over time and distance, I've learned that there's sort of like levels of fasting. To keep it simple, you have fast, faster, and then fastest. So, and that would be like your fast, faster, and fastest way to sort of heal, to like detox and stuff like that. So the fast basically is like you're pretty much going like raw food, like not necessarily vegan, but you're just like going plant-based and you're eating from the earth, like the way we were supposed to, you know? So you're ditching all the processed foods and stuff like that, and you're going plant-based and eating, you know, healthy foods that grow from the ground, you know, or from trees and stuff like that, you know? So that would be the fast way to do it. The faster way is to juice those things and then intake that, right? So that would be a faster way to heal. So you would literally not eat anything, but you would juice those things and then drink the juice. That could be an amazing way too. So that would be the faster way to heal. And I'm talking about, you know, people with like chronic diseases and stuff like that, you know, this is kind of the context here. So if there's a chronic disease, you can go plant-based, as my grandma and my aunt did, to remove cancer from their body. Or you can do faster. The faster way would be juicing those foods. And then the fastest way to heal would be water only.
Okay.
Which is the toughest, obviously, but it would be the fastest way to do it, you know?
Okay.
So.
And you mentioned like going fully plant-based. Why do you say that? Because obviously nowadays with, you know, there's this huge carnivore diet trend, and then there's the side of veganism and plant-based. So why is it that, do you think it's really the plants going plant-based that is helping someone with the chronic illness, or the fact that they're getting rid of all the processed crap along with it?
It's both. It's both for sure, because you're removing a lot of, like anything that's packaged is most likely going to have additives, some type of, you know, synthetic nutrients, you know, and it's like, your body doesn't recognize that, you know. Even like the supplements, man, a lot of the supplements out there too, your body doesn't recognize that, man. You're literally just like expensive pee coming out, you know, like that's, yeah. So with plants though, there are healing benefits.
Link in the description for your newest supplement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's called an apple.
Love it.
And you don't have to know what's in that apple. Just eat it and you got it done. You know, that's simple, man. It's amazing, bro. Think about it, man. Like, as a child, if you were to put, you know, again, I'm not bashing like the meat eaters or anything like that, but just keeping it like as natural as possible. If you put a steak and like a fresh piece of fruit, the child is going to go for that fresh fruit. And it's you know, again, test it, like prove it. You know, my wife's sister, so my sister-in-law, she literally was like, she observed this. She was like, you know, she had a nice, you know, meal of whatever it was. I don't know, fish. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was some type of like animal products. And then she had pineapple, and they went straight for that pineapple, and they loved the pineapple, and they just ate the pineapple, you know. So again, just, you know, avoiding all of like the studies and all this stuff that's happening, everyone's opinion. Cut it back. Just think about how natural that is, you know. When we see like a tree and there's fruit growing on that and you can smell it, you know, and you go there and you just give it a taste, like your body lights up. Your body wants that for sure. And your senses are telling you that, you know, when you smell a fresh, you know, apple or peach or whatever it might be, you start to salivate, you know, like your senses are like, yes, like that's good, let's eat that, you know. And when you do find, you know,
so do you, going off of that, because I know this is a hot topic right now, so do you eat meat though still, or no, not at all?
I do still eat animal products every once in a while, actually. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not about like, you're not saying, hey, you're not anti-meat, cutting out meat altogether. It's just that moderation.
Okay. Exactly. Yeah. I do. Yeah. Again, I went so full on vegan and, you know, all this, you know, stuff like that. And I've gone completely carnivore too. You know, again, I just wanted to experience this stuff, you know. So for me, when I did go carnivore, it was like, man, I just was losing it, man. It just didn't work for me, you know. And then learning about the blue zones, which are like the longest lived cultures on Earth, you see that one of the things that they have in common is that they don't eat meat every day. They don't eat animal products every day even, you know? It's like a festival type of thing, or maybe like once a week, couple times a week kind of thing, you know? And again, like we don't need to study, you just observe like some of these longest lived cultures, and this is what they're doing, you know? And they have a lot of things in common, but one of the things that they do have in common is that they are plant-based. And this isn't about, like, I'm not like, you know, saying that we all need to be plant-based, you know? Just try whatever works for you, you know? But the thing is, again, if we just go back to what's completely natural, like, you know, think about like the idea with the child, you know, like, are they going to go to a steak, or are they going to go for that pineapple or that, you know, fresh piece of fruit?
Yeah, and I think like just talking in more about this, it's like you said, there's so many different opinions out there when it comes to nutrition, health.
Yeah.
It's become so commoditized with, you know, social media, and you have all these health, you know, influencers saying, go plant-based, go meat-based. Oh, and by the way, buy my supplements. So it's like follow the money, you know, too. And also when it comes to longevity, why am I going to listen to a guy in his 30s about how to live to 100 years old? Which is like what so many of these nutritionists are coming out and they're saying, like, you know, and I love a lot of their information. Sure. I get so much out of, you know, all these different health experts. But I think when the whole concept with social media is to be polarizing so that they get a following. Mm-hmm. And so people often forget that. They run with it. And then they say, oh, I'm only going to eat meat. Oh, I'm only going to be plant-based because this guy said so, and he has a medical degree or, you know, whatever, right? A PhD.
Yeah, cool.
But like, I think what I really respect about you is it's like, information's out there, but at the end of the day, let's test it out for myself. At the end of the day, we are all unique human beings. So you are your own guinea pig. And I love that about you when it comes to health, is it's like, no, I'm not just gonna believe someone's word for it. Let me test that out for myself and see what actually works. Let me observe the blue zones, like places like Japan, Italy, you know.
Yep, you got it. Yeah.
So mad respect to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Experience brings wisdom. You know, so that's what I'm all about, man. Experience it. You know, I just want to experience things and gain that wisdom for myself. You know, so yeah, absolutely, yeah. Kind of going back to the plants. You know, again, today, unfortunately, which there is some truth to this too. The plants are supposedly like, you know, that's where all the toxicity is. You know, and to a degree that is true because of the widespread use of pesticides and herbicides and insecticides, and just the way we're growing stuff today, commercialized growing, it's just not the way it was ever done in history, you know? So to a degree, that is, you know, where we're finding a lot of toxicity. But is it the actual components of that piece of fruit or that vegetable? Probably not. You know, again, we get so into this like, oh, we extracted this one little chemical out of an apple and it's got arsenic in it. It's gonna kill you. And it's like, no, like, is that apple, literally look at that apple, man, just hanging on a tree. You think it's gonna kill you?
And what's a simple, like, we were talking the other day about like eating fruits and vegetables. Yeah. Because like, let's say you're buying organic, not organic, maybe you're not even sure what you're buying. How do you minimize your your exposure to pesticides? You had a simple solution that I really loved.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So apple cider vinegar is known to remove pesticides and herbicides and all kinds of stuff that's on the fruits and vegetables. So that could be an easy way. You just soak it, some apple cider vinegar in some water, soak it for like 30 seconds to a minute, and then just wash that off, obviously nice and clean, so it doesn't taste like apple cider vinegar. That could be one way. Baking soda is another way. To get rid of that. Some of the acids that are from the pesticides, basically. So those are two just simple ways. You know, wash your fruits and vegetables with some baking soda, some apple cider vinegar, and you got it done. You know, because the thing is that there is a concept, and I think this was by Paracelsus, which it probably goes before his time as well. But he was a chemist, and he sort of like coined this term that was the doctrine of signatures, or the signum natura, which that's what it means in Latin, basically, the doctrines of signatures. And what that means is that these foods that we find growing on the earth, they actually look like different parts of the body. And it was like they just kind of observed that, and they noticed, like, wow, like that's interesting. You know, you look at a carrot, you slice that thing open, it looks like an eye. You know, like citrus fruit. You know, you slice that thing open, and it literally looks just like a breast, like the mammary glands in the breast. It looks just like it. It is a trip, man. Broccoli, like the lungs, a walnut. You know, looks just like the brain. It's amazing. Coconut, same thing. When you look at the husk
That's
of a
actually
coconut,
insane.
it looks just like it. And it's like, man, that is not a coincidence. That is pure intelligence that God, like, just that the godly design of that is for a reason, man. You know, and it's like, it's clear as day, bro. Like our senses, like, just look at that thing. Like I said, a walnut, it looks just like it. All the little convoluted like folds of the brain, looks just like it, man. It's amazing. The almond, there's a part of the brain called the amygdala. If you look at the scientific name of an almond, it actually has amygdalus in it. It's crazy. Whoa. It's like, oh, okay, that's probably going to target the amygdala, and it absolutely does, because there are like studies today, which I don't like. Studies are great, you know, but the thing is that it's always going to be flawed, no matter which avenue you're coming from.
Yeah,
or
because
which, you know,
2/3 of research is industry funded at the end of the day.
100%. That would be the bought and paid for science, which is bad science, BS, if you will.
Science like should be funded for a non-biased. Hey, let's look at you know, both sides in a non-biased way. But when you have 2/3 of the studies being funded by industries that have incentives to make money, what are we doing? So it's like, am I going to trust the science? I trust the process of science, but I don't trust where the money's coming from.
Sure.
So it's like, it's not about, we're not anti-science in any way. We love science. It's just like, take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yep, there is some good stuff there, and again, like I was saying, like there is studies out there that's proving, you know, carrot is good for the eyes, you know, like figs and stuff like that for prostate. And if you look at a fig, it's amazing, man. If you open up a fig, it looks like it's got all these little sperm in it, you know, and it just so happens that it does increase sperm count.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bananas, you know.
I'll be eating, what is it, figs? You say figs? Figs, okay.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to the store and grab some figs after this.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and like, again, breast and the citrus fruit. Man, it is great. Citrus fruit is known to clear the lymphatic system, which is heavily, you know, concentrated in this area, especially for females, you know, and I think it's like 1 in 8 women are going to have breast cancer. I think is what where we're at right now, you know, and it's probably worse in some areas, to be honest.
And you wonder if that's like a circulation issue, a buildup, right?
And
so it's like lymph, and lymph
100%.
doesn't necessarily drain on its own. You have to move it either through exercise, or maybe it's your diet that's like circulating things out, or you literally have to go in there and massage it out. Chiropractic, anything like that.
You got it.
You need motion.
Yep. And the citrus fruit, it's known. It cleans the lymphatic system. It's like Drano. Literally just cleans the tubes. It's amazing, you know? So, and that's a lot of it is the lymph that's all getting it's like congested, basically. Because your lymph system is like the sewer system. You know, when that gets backed up and all these different little nodules right here, like, yeah, man, there's your cancer. There's your breast cancer and what have you. All the cysts and stuff like that. So, man, there's so much here, but
we could talk all day long. Obviously, I want to be. I'm not even sure if this camera's recording at this point. We'll see, but it's awesome to just sit down with you for like a short amount of time and just pick your brain, because you're clearly like, I see you as an expert in your own way, which is so awesome. And thank you for just sharing your wisdom. And if you have any like last bits of advice for anyone who's interested in learning more about fasting, maybe books that you've read, resources, anything like that?
Man,
Yeah, let's hear it.
there's a lot. If particularly on fasting, Arnold Ehret is one of like, this guy's old school too. This is probably like, I would say early 1900s. Arnold Ehret is a good one. Bragg's actually. Dr. Bragg is a good one.
It's unfortunate. I heard Bragg's was bought out by someone recently,
right, exactly.
Katy Perry or something,
Yeah.
and then who owns Katy Perry? I heard it was like Bill Gates or something.
Right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely heard about that as well, yeah. But the original Dr. Bragg, this guy was huge on fasting. Yeah, in fact, man, if anybody knows Dr. DeMartini, his story comes from Dr. Bragg. He went to a Dr. Bragg interview, or like a seminar, and Dr. Bragg was talking about fasting. And he literally like told Dr. DeMartini, like, you need to go on a fast. And he did. Dr. DeMartini did a grape fast. He literally ate nothing but grapes for like some amazing amount of time, like some ridiculous amount of time, like a year or more. I don't even know. I don't know quite how long, but it was like a long time, like months and months and months, just grapes. And at one point he was eating like just like 3 grapes a day. And I was like, again, I love it. I love it because it sounds so crazy. Like, that is absolutely stupid. It's got to be wrong. No way. And the thing is that this is the truth, is that the amount of food that we're eating, because we think we need the energy and we need the muscle and we got to work out and we need like all this food, no, it's not true. It's not true. The word fast literally comes from the word strong. And to hold fast is to hold strong. That's the origin of that word. And that's the thing, is like, it sounds so backwards because we think of not eating and we think of like weakness, and you know what I mean? And when you are extended fasting, that does happen. And it's because you're removing toxins, and there's a time where your body needs to conserve energy and put it towards healing. So you're not going to be out there, you know, pumping weights and doing all this stuff. You know, your body wants to heal, and that's the beautiful thing about an extended fast. And like I was saying earlier, everybody should do an extended fast every once in a while. In fact, our ancestors used to do like 4 days every single month. You know,
and like you said too, like, I think that's been my experience with fasting. I've been fasting on and off for 5-10 years now, but I've never really been consistent. Up until we met, I started being more consistent with my fasting, and I've noticed an incremental difference of doing smaller fasts more frequently, like you said, once a week. And I think what you said with fast meaning strength is so true, and so, with my own experience, I have really noticed that, like, it not only builds discipline within you, but it's building that inner strength.
Yep.
So it's like there's the physical strength, which sure, you're getting a little bit of that through fasting as well, through the autophagy and the ketosis and the recycling and all that stuff. But when it comes to that inner strength and that mental strength, I don't think there's anything out there that will make you more mentally tough than fasting.
Yep.
Not a marathon, not a physical endurance or race, literally fasting.
You got it. You got it. Yep. Something that is so, you know, a part of the human experience, eating, you know, and when you stop that, like you said, it builds such strength, because you realize, if I just went 5, 10, 15, 40 days without food, I can do anything, because it is the most sort of like innate thing about us, is eating food. And when you stop doing that, you realize, holy crap. And that's why, like, people go through fast and all of a sudden addictions gone. No more addictions, man, whatever that might be. Like some of the heaviest addictions, you know, like smoking cigarettes, gone. It's like you build strength.
Yeah, you build that strength. And I think, like, this is like a whole nother topic, is it builds like this, it expands you in a way where you're like, I can't eat food. Who am I? Literally, who am I? Like, what is this world that we live in? And all of a sudden, that opens up a whole nother realm of spirituality, religion, what, you know, God's source, intelligence. And I don't know if you want to maybe for honestly, a minute talk about that.
That would be a great path to go down as well. Like, putting aside all like the physical and like all the studies and stuff that's been done on fasting and how it can like reverse age and stuff like that, that is amazing stuff. There is so much out there. And when you experience fasting, you realize like, holy crap, I actually look younger, I feel younger. So it is an actual physical thing, but on a spiritual side, which we are mostly spirit. And when you go through an extended fast, you absolutely, you understand that. You know, you experience that and you're like, like I can go this many days without food. And it's a spiritual thing. And I do believe that all of these characters like in the Bible and some of these like different religions that are around the world, they all incorporate fasting. Every religion incorporates fasting, some more than others, and you know, but it's all a part of religion. Any religion, just about any spirituality, it's like there's fasting. That's a part of that, and there's a reason for that, you know. And again, just to keep it simple, with fasting, you're removing interference within the nervous system, within your digestive system, lymphatic system. It's just removing interference, especially the nervous system is like this communication. I do believe that like that is your wiring system, and through the brain and the nervous system is how like God is sort of like connected, you know, is through that. So when you're clearing out any blockages within the nervous system, that in effect is strengthening your spiritual body, you know. And again, it's just about removing interference. We get all these blockages from traumas and all kinds of stuff, you know, whether it's physical or like emotional, you know, they create blockages. And when you fast, all that stuff is removed. And then you just have you and God, or whatever you want to call it. You know, it's just like you and nature, you and spirit. And that's all you have. And the thing is, you know, again, over time and distance, I've learned that when you are fasting, there's physical things you need to do to support the detox, but there's also spiritual things you need to do as well. And that, whether it's like, you know, with Christianity, you read the Bible and stuff like that, you get into the Word, you know, which is like, that's where I'm at right now in this human experience, man. I love it. Like when you read the Bible, any spiritual text, to be honest, and you're fasting, it's like you're there. It's like you're understanding it so much more. It's so crazy how that works. And again, like to anybody who hasn't experienced fasting, it probably sounds nuts. You know, but once you do it, you fully understand what I'm talking about. So when you're reading these spiritual texts, you just understand it more. It's like it's just downloading into you, and it's a part of you, you know. So you're creating space, and then you're filling that space in with something else. Bro. So some, you know, form of spiritual text, whatever it might be. Even if you just meditated, you will get downloads. You know, like, you don't have to read anything, man, but it will happen. And you will start to reflect on the things that you've done in your life, you know, and there's so many things, man. If you look at, you know, when you look at like, say, water, you know, like a clear lake that's not moving much. It's just like a still lake. And you look into the water, you can see your reflection. But when the waters are like moving, you know, you don't see a clear reflection. Your body's the same way. Once we just fast and just start to like calm the waters, you start to you see this reflection. And it's like you're reflecting on all the things that you've done in your past. Some people even say that they have multiple lives that they experience, they see. You know, some people, it's like, is it from the past? Is it from a different past life? I don't know. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? But some people say that. It's
okay to not know.
You know? Exactly, yeah. So some people say that, you know. But the thing is with the fast, there's a text called the Essene Gospel of Peace. And it's like this non-canonical book, basically. It's not a part of the canon or a part of the Bible, per se. But the Essenes were like a sect of Jews. And some say that Jesus was a part of that sect. He was an Essene. And there's this gospel of peace, they call it, from the Essenes. And this is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls in the sort of Middle East area. And he had found it in a cave. And one of the scrolls was literally the Essene Gospel of Peace. And I've been reading through this stuff, and it's so profound. Because literally, it's like the words of Jesus, and he's talking about fasting. And he's talking about like how it heals. So he's saying like for every 1 day of a fast, it's like removing a year of like stuff that's been built up. You know, so that's emotional stuff too. So for every day of a fast, you're going back a year, which is the idea of like reversing age as well, which is amazing. And it's all being like sort of like proven, I guess, if you will, with the studies, you know, which is great to see, you know. But some of the stuff like that our ancestors taught, you know, some of the stuff that like Jesus taught, Moses, and all these like different characters in the Bible and different people of the past, you know, not just the Bible, man, the Quran too, dude, heavy on fasting. I mean, Ramadan right now is actually Ramadan, and they're fasting every day, and they break fast every night, you know, in Islam. You know, so that it's so incorporated into the spiritual life, man.
Yeah, it's like fasting.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. We all have roots in it.
Yep.
Like through like what you said, through religious texts, and our ancestors did it normally, or they did it because there just wasn't food. They were looking.
Exactly.
They were hunter-gatherers searching.
Exactly.
So it's like there was time between meals to really like forage and work for our food.
There you go. Yep.
But,
yeah. And with an extended fast, there's a point where you just receive this incredible amount of energy. And again, this sounds crazy to someone who's never done it, but once you get in like 10 days, 20 days, you just receive this incredible amount of energy. And it makes sense because, like, you know, in the past, there was times where there was famine and we had to like go out and get food. So it's like this innate thing that your body's doing. It's like you have all the energy, go out there and find us some food, you know? So you have this energy and you can just run, walk for like miles and miles and miles and miles.
Yeah, and the way to touch on that, it's like almost like I think of it too, they were also grounding to the earth, and it's like during that time, it's like, what is your body doing? It's like recharging. You're literally recharging your system so that you can then fuel up and then use that nutrients, and your body's able to use it more efficiently now that you've moved your body and you've actually stimulated parts of your brain. Whew.
Yeah, there's so much there, man. But again, just it's so natural. It's such a natural process of the human experience, man. And we've gone further and further away from that the more we become like technologically advanced and stuff like that, you know. And there's a balance, you know. I'm not saying like I love the how we can do this.
Yeah.
You know, technology is great because we can do this and we can share this, and hopefully someone actually gets something out of this, man. Like,
I think people will.
like, I hope it just inspires people to start fasting, to get into chiropractic, to just really look at themselves as, you know, an organism that can and will heal if you just support that, you know? So if anybody is interested, like, please, like, connect. And there's so much more I would want to share. I would like to share.
Absolutely,
you know?
man. You are a wealth of knowledge, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me and just sharing from the heart. God, I want to do this again with you.
Yeah,
literally.
I feel like there should be parts.
There
to
needs
this,
to be more.
Yeah, because it's kind of a little bit scattered, you know, because there is so much
okay though,
there,
you know.
but,
This is our first time sitting down together, but it's like, I'm just glad you know so much, you know, and I'm just sitting here listening because I'm like, you know, it's just incredible. You have so much in here and in here, and they're connected for sure, and everyone can see that.
Yeah.
So much love, bro.
That's great.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
Bro. Much love, my man. Thank you. Appreciate you, bro.
Dude, you're the man. Love you.
Love you too.
That was so fun.
Yeah. I guess we'll call it there.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's still recording. Oh no, it doesn't, dude. Oh wait, yes it is. 58 minutes, bro. That's good.
Perfect. Okay, cool. All right.